Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Gulfstream Park here on Saturday. It is March the 2nd, 2019. I'm going to look at all the stakes races on Gulfstream's program, including the Fountain of Youth. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Also, join me next Saturday for Super Saturday from Maidan, the local prep races for the Dubai World Cup, which is coming up in about 29 days' time, the final Saturday of the month. So join me for those big races from Maidan this month. Also, join me on the 12th of March for the beginning of the Cheltenham Festival. If you like jumps racing, that's the best festival in the world. It's probably the best festival for horse racing, hands down, I think. And so join me here on YouTube for all 4 days at the Cheltenham Festival for previews and selections. So today's Gulfstream Park Florida Derby Preview Day card is a great card. I'm going to look at all the stakes races 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So those are races 4 through 8, and then 11 through 14. And I'll also give you a late pick 4 ticket. So let's get on to it. We have a ginormous card to look at. Starting off with the fourth race, which is the Palm Beach Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse of $150,000. Races for 3-year-olds here. Field of 8 horses going the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16th on the Gulfstream Park lawn, the turf course. 1,700 meters, mile 16th, turf course. And I show the diagram. It just gives me a second to look down in my notes. Just bear with me. Sorry, I'm stupid. I can't do two things at the same time. This Palm Beach Stakes has always been one of my favorite races because it's kind of, I like the 3-year-old turf division. It's a very exciting division at times, even though a lot of people hate it. I don't know why. But this division's very exciting, and a lot of these horses will probably end up in some of the big 3-year-old turf races over the summer, like the Belmont Derby, the new Saratoga Derby, that Jockey Club race, the Secretariat, the Kent at Delaware, which is not a big race, but I always like that race. The American Turf, some great races they always end up in, I like this division. My top selection here on the Palm Beach, I'm gonna take the number 5 horse, A Thread of Blue. I'm gonna go 5, 6, 7, 1 in the superfecta. 5, 6, 7, 1 super. My top selection, the 5 horse, A Thread of Blue. 3-0 colt by Hardspun. Kieran McLaughlin trains. Luis Saez gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came the 3rd of February at Gulfstream. 1 mile on firm ground in the Diania Beach. The horse won by 3.5 lengths, and from mid-pack post-draw, sat on the front end all throughout, had easy fractions, and he just went away with it. It was a very good run there, second off the break. Before that, this horse ran the 22nd of December at Gulfstream, mile 16th, and also 62 claimer, 75 claimer. The horse won by 2 3/4 lengths, and again set the pace that day, and just again went off easily. A very easy race there, And then before that, this horse ran here in New York on the 4th of November at Aqueduct on yielding turf course, 1 mile inner turf course in the Awad. The horse didn't run that well. The ground was very saturated, and he finished 3rd by 1 1/4 lengths, and just never got into it. The horse wanted to run too, and Junior Alvarado had a hard hold on the horse. I think with firmer ground today, again, good workouts under his belt, I think he'll really run well, so I'll take him as a top selection here. To the multi-race scenario, I think it's, either the speed's going to win or a closer's going to win. That's how it works all the time. But in the multi-race, I would go 5, 6. But to recap my selections for the 4th from Gulfstream, it's the grade 3 Palm Beach. I'm going to take the 5 horse, A Thread of Blue. I'll go 5, 6, 7, 1 in the superfecta. I'll go 5, 6 in the multi-race. So now let's get to race 5. Race number 5 from Gulfstream, it's the Canadian Turf. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse of $150,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 7 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the Gulfstream Park turf course. 1,600, 1 mile. And I know people hate when I say the meters, the race of meters, but I really don't care. The rest of the world uses metric systems, so should we here in America, but some people are just a little bit one side or dim. But my top selection here in the Canadian Turf, I'm going to take the number 7 horse, breaking the rules. I'm going to go 7, 6, 5, 3 in the superfecta, 7, 6, 5, 3 super. In the multi-race, I think I would go 7, 6, 5. I think it's those 3 are the main horses in this race that could possibly get a piece of it. So if I would play a pick 4, pick 3, whatever connects these races, go 7, 6, 5. But the top selection would be the 7 horse, breaking the rules. 4-year colt by Warfront. Shug McGahee trains. Irider Ortiz Jr. picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 29th of December at Gulfstream, mile 16th in the Tropical Derby, and the horse won by 3 1/4 lengths there. Excuse me. he took off clear from a stalking position, and he just won very nicely first off the break. Before that, he ran the 6th of October at Belmont, mile and 8th inner turf course off 6-2 Claimer, and he won by 2 3/4 lengths. He stalked early on again, and then a little bit wide the top line, but that didn't matter because he just took off a very, very good run there. And then at Saratoga in his turf debut, about a mile on the inner turf course and off 6-2 Claimer, the horse finished third by 1 1/4 lengths there. It was very wide, which probably cost him at the end, and also the winner, Holiday Stone, who's actually running back in this one today, just had that little better jump on him from stalking. These Holiday Stone and Breaking the Rules ran quite similar races, I think, but Holiday Stone just had that little bit extra to get the victory. But I think since coming to turf, this horse has found something extra. She'll like the lawn here again today, and I think she'll run well, so I'll take her as a top selection, or him as a top selection. So to recap my selections for the 5th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 3 Canadian Turf. Gonna go with the 7 horse Breaking the Rules. I'll go 7-6-5-3 in the superfecta, 7-6-5 in the multi-race. To race number 6 from Gulfstream, it's the Gulfstream Park Sprint. It's a Grade 3 event going for a purse of $100,000. This race is for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses tackling the distance of ground of 1,200 meters, or the distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the Gulfstream Park main course, the dirt. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs. Top selection, I'm going to take the number 4 horse Quixote. I'm going to go 4-1-5-8 in the superfecta, 4-1-5-8 super. Top selection of 4 horse Quixote, 6-year-old gelding by Pomeroy here. Ira Ortiz Jr. picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 19th of January here at Gulfstream, 6 furlongs in the Sunshine Million Sprint. The horse won by 3 3/4 lengths there. He stalked early on, he sat towards the back pack early on. He slowly moved his way up, and he just took off clear at the end. It was a very good run. The XY Jet ran in that race, and he just did not show up. But this horse ran a hell of a race. Before that, the 20th of November at Ocala on the all-weather, 6 furlongs in the OBS Sprint. The horse finished 4th by 2 lengths there, and he just couldn't get the good closing kick. It wasn't the day to win. And then over at Calder on the slop and off 6-2 Claimer, he won by 6.5 lengths, sitting a little bit closer than he normally does. He just went away with it. A very good race. And then in the Triniberg at Gulfstream, back here, 6 furlongs, September the 8th, he finished third by 1 3/4 lengths. He closed up well. There's a lot of pace in this one, and I just don't trust the favorite, the 1 horse Recruiting Ready, who's going to be setting the pace. I have a feeling there's going to be a pace meltdown, and I think it's going to suit towards a horse like the 4 horse Quixote, to the point of I would single this horse in a multi-race sequence. That's how confident I am, because plus Recruiting Ready is 4-0 on this surface here at Gulfstream Park. He's run shit races locally, so I think it's, like I said, I think it's going to sit towards another horse here, and I think it's going to be the 4 horse Quixote, who's 9-2 here. His last victory here came over about a year ago, a little over a year ago, in the Mr. Prospector, where he won by 1 1/4 lengths before the Sunshine Million Sprint. That's what I mean. His last victory before the Sunshine Million Sprint came about over a year ago, where he won the Mr. Prospector very nicely, or excuse me, not the Mr. Prospector. He won the Big Drama, very easily by 2 lengths. Sorry, lost my train of thought. But that day he sat closer and closed up and took off clear at the end. A very good run after some fast fractions. I like this horse a lot. Like I said, don't trust the favorite, and I think this Quixote will run the big race, so watch out for him. So to recap my selections for the 6th from Gulfstream, it's Grade 3 Gulfstream Park Sprint. Gonna take the 4 horse Quixote. I'm gonna go 4-1-5-8 in the superfecta. So now let's get to race number 7. Race number 7 from Gulfstream. It's the Very One Stakes. It's a Grade 3 event going for a purse of $150,000. This race is for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses. The 9 horses main track only, so 8 will go. The distance of ground of 1,900 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 3/16 on the Gulfstream Park turf course. 1,900 meters, mile 3/16. The rail's at 96 feet, so that's the outer portion of the turf course. My top selection here, I'm going to take the number 4 horse, Semper Centaya. I'm mispronouncing the horse's name wrong. Pardon that, it's not on purpose. I just can't speak fucking English. I'm going to go 4-7-3-5 in the superfecta. 4-7-3-5 super. Top selection of 4 horse, Semper Centene. I do watch the replays, but I usually watch the replays on mute because sometimes I just can't stand the announcers, or I just don't want to hear the announcers what they say. This 4-year filly by the fact here, Mark Henning trains. Javier Castellano picks up the mount. This horse's most recent outing came 26th of January at Gulfstream, yielding turf course, mile and a half in the La Pueviante. The horse finished third by 3.5 lengths. He stalked early on, had the lead, but then just kind of weakened out of it. The wet ground had probably something to do with it, and I also don't think this horse lasted the mile and a half. I think the cut back to a mile 3/16 today, just think this horse should do a lot better. I think this is in the real house for this horse. A mile 3/16, mile and a quarter, somewhere around there. Before then, the Tropical Oaks at Gulfstream, mile 16th, December the 29th. The horse finished third by a length, had a little bit of a wide post draw, but really had a decent turn of foot. It wasn't the world's worst race for this horse. And then the Winter Memories at Aqueduct, mile off the turf, November the 22nd. The horse finished second by nose, closed up well, but was very wide. Also, I don't think the dirt was to her liking, but she still ran well. And then before that, a lounge race at Belmont, mile and a quarter inner turf course, October the 17th. A good turf course because it was raining all throughout the fall at Belmont. The horse finished third by 1 3/4 lengths. The winner won next start out. This horse was very wide, had the lead, and then got caught. It was a very weird run there, and then she broke the maiden at Belmont, going mile quarter very easily opening weekend. She won by 2 3/4 lengths, sat back early, got the lead, and then took off clear. Very good run. Like I said, I think the mile 3/16 strip was up her alley, and I think she'll run well. At 7-2, I'll take her. So to recap my selection for the 7th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 3 Very One. Gonna take the 4 horse. I'm gonna go 4-7-3-5 in the superfecta, and a multi-race, I'll go 4-7-3. To race number 8. The 8th event from Gulfstream Park, it's the Here Comes the Bride Stakes. It's a Grade 3 event going for a purse of $150,000. This race is for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 8 horses going to post a distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or a mile and 16th on the turf course. 1,700 meters, mile 16th, and they'll be running on the inner portion of the turf course where the rail is at 24 feet. Just keep that in mind. Top selection here in the Here Comes the Bride. I'm going to take the number 7 horse, Cambier Park. I'm going to go 7-4-6-2 in the superfecta, 7-4-6-2 super. Top selection to 7 horse, Cambier Park. 3-year-old filly by Medaglia de Oro. Chad Brown trains. Jose Ortiz gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing, the turf debut, came the 2nd of January here at Gulfstream. Mile 16th in the main special weight, 43,000. The horse won by 4 lengths. Sat mid-pack early on, a little bit wide, but he took off in the straightaway. It was very good turf debut, very good maiden victory, 85 Irish speed figure to go along with that. Before that, they took this horse on the 3rd of November to make the career debut at Aqueduct on the muddy but harrowed main track, 6.5 main special weight, 70,000, and the horse finished 4th by 3 lengths. Didn't break all that well. A little bit of a turn of foot, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't anything substantial. It just wasn't the day to win. I think coming back to turf today, which I think this horse really likes, I think she'll really run well. They have some problems with this horse because they did buy this horse at Keeneland September 2017 sale for $1.2 million, a little over 1.2. So they spent a nice bargain on this one. They dropped a nice bargain on this one, whatever the fuck I'm saying. But like I said, I think this horse will run well again, so I'll take her as the top selection here. So to recap my selection for the 8th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 3 Here Comes the Bride. Gonna take the 7 horse Cambria Park. I'm gonna go 7-4-6-2 in the superfecta. In the multi-race, I'll go 7-4. I think it's 2 horse race. So now let's get to race number 11 from Gulfstream. The 11th race from Gulfstream Park, the beginning of the late pick 4, it is the Honey Fox Stakes. It's a Grade 3 event going for a purse of $150,000. This race is for filly mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. Field of 10 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the Gulfstream Park lawn, the turf course. 1,600 meters, a mile on the turf. Top selection, keep in mind the rail's at 96 feet, so that's the outer portion of the turf course. Top selection here, I'm going to take the 1 horse La Signare. I'm going to go 4-1-10-2 in the superfecta, 4-1-10-2 super. In the pick 4, I'm going to go 4-1. I'm going to use 2 deep here in the first leg. But the top selection is the 4 horse La Signare. 4-year-old filly here, Brian Lynch trains. Jose Ortiz picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 12th of January here at Gulfstream, mile 16th in the Grade 3 Marshua River. The horse finished 6th by 4.5 lengths. Stalked early on, had to check a few times, and it just took a lot out of her. She had a horrible trip. She just never got into it. First off the break, she needed the race. It just wasn't her day to win. Let's get it straight to the point. It wasn't her day to win. Before that, she ran the 7th of July here in New York at Belmont, a mile and 1/4 on the inner turf in the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks, and she finished 10th by 6 3/4 lengths. She set the pace early on, but then she just hit the wall. The Irish Invader Athena ran a hell of a race there. Her second start in 6 days, including a transatlantic flight, and Athena ran a hell of a race. This horse just did not. She weakened out of it. It wasn't the day to win. And then the wonder again at Belmont, mile 18 the 7th. The horse won by length on the front end all throughout, a little bit wide, but she just took off clear. A very good run. And then her North America debut at Keeneland, a mile 16th Lounge Race 71,000, finished second by half length. They switched up the tactics that day. She closed up from the back of the pack after sitting back, and she had a good turn of foot. So this horse is versatile. She could set the pace, or she could come from behind like she showed at Keeneland and in her previous races in France and Toulouse. I expect her to run well, and at 6-1, I think she's the kind of horse you definitely want on your pick 4 ticket. I know I'll be using her. Like I said, just throughout that last race in the Marshua River was an absolute disaster. So to recap my selection for the 11th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 3 Honey Fox. Gonna take the 4 horse. I'm gonna go 4-1, 10-2 in the superfecta. I'll go 4-1 in the pick 4. So now let's get to race number 12 from Gulfstream Park. It's the Bona Dale Stakes. It's a Grade 2 event going for a purse of $200,000. This race is for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 7 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the 1-mile trip on the Gulfstream Park main track. 1,600, 1-turn mile. My top selection and a single in the pick 4. I like the 1-horse Jaywalk, and I'm just trying to beat her here. It looks too hard, and I just think a lot of the horses, she's on A level, the other horses are on like a C level. So I'll take the 1-horse Jaywalk as a top selection and a single in the multi-race. I'll go 1-7-3-5 in the superfecta, 1-7-3-5 super, but the top selection is the 1-horse Jaywalk, 3-year-old filly by Cross Traffic. John Service trains. Joel Rosario picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 2nd of November at Churchill, mile 16th in the Bruce Cup Juvenile Fillies. The horse won by 5.5 lengths. She sat on the front end all throughout. First start around 2 turns. She just won very easily. It was a very good run there. Before that, at Belmont Mile in the Grade 1 for Zen, she won by 5 3/4 lengths, and again, on lead all throughout. She just went away with it. It was a very good run there. And then before that, she ran at Delaware Park 5.5 on August the 22nd in the overnight stakes 50,000. Horse won by 1/4 length. She sat down early on, but after that, she just took off at the end. A very good move, and she just won for fun. And then she broke her main at Parks very nicely, and then ran her career debut at Monmouth, a decent second place finish. She should like the 1-turn mile. I think she's going to be a bit of a miler here. She's been training well. I think she'll really run well. Like I said, she's a single. She's run much the best races out of anybody here by a mile, I think. So watch out for him. So to recap my selection for the 12th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 2 Bona Dale. Going to take the 1-horse Jaywalk. I'll go 1-7-3-5 in the superfecta, and I'll single the 1-horse in the pick 4. So let's get to the featured 13th race, the Fountain of Youth. The featured 13th race from Gulfstream Park. It is the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth Stakes. It's going for a purse of $400,000. This race is for 3-year-olds here. Field of 11 3-year-olds going the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the Gulfstream Park main track. 1,700 meters, mile 16th. Top selection here in the Fountain of Youth, which is a very wide open race this year. I'm going to take the number 4 horse here, Bourbon War. I'm going to go 4-6-1-7 in the superfecta, 4-6-1-7 super. In the multi-race, I'm going to go with all 4 of them, because I think all 4 of them have a strong chance here. But my top selection, the 4-horse Bourbon War, 3-year-old colt by Tappet. Mark Henning trains. Ira Ortiz Jr. picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 18th of January here at Gulfstream, a mile and 1/8 and up 75 claimer, and the horse won by 2 1/4 lengths there. He sat back early on, had a great move around the far turn, going in and out of traffic, closed up well from the backpack, and he went away with it. It was a very good victory. You don't see horses close up going mile 16th at Gulfstream Park and win by a lot like he did. That was a very good run. He got a very good 89 Beyer speed figure that day. One of the best out of the horses here. Only one horse has a better as Beyer speed figure. That's the number 7 horse Hidden Scroll, who has a 4 Beyer for his last run on the slot, but we'll get to him in a little bit. Before the Gulfstream race, this horse ran here in New York on the 1st of December at Aqueduct on a fast main track, mile 8th in the Grade 2 Remsen, and he finished 4th by 9 lengths there. He was very wide that day, and he just never got comfortable. It wasn't the day to win. And then at Aqueduct, 1 mile off turf in a main special weight last November, he won by 2 1/4 lengths, sat back early, sitting a little bit closer towards the midpoint, and then he just took off clear at the end. It was another very good run with all said and done at the end. He's been training well here at Gulfstream, and I think he's a horse that could really run a big race, and I also think he can sit a little bit closer. So we'll see what Irad Ortiz Jr. does today. 10-1, I'll take this horse on top. Another horse I'll definitely use here will be the number 6 horse Singleman. This trio called by General Quarters. Kenny McPeak trains this one. Brian Hernandez Jr. picks up the mount. This horse is coming out of a win in the Kentucky Jockey Club at Churchill a few months ago, mile 16th on the slop. He won the race by a neck. He sat mid-pack most of the race, had a good turn of foot at the quarter pole, and then he fought a good race. He won very nicely there. Before that, the Brews Cup Juvenile at Churchill, he finished 3rd by 3 1/4 lengths there. He had a decent turn of foot at the end for 67-1 at post time. He ran a good effort, and then the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, he finished 2nd by 5 3/4 lengths. He just needed that extra kick, and he also had a very troubled trip. He was bumped around a few times. The horse, he could sit a little bit closer if he wants to. He should like the mile 16th trip. I think he's another horse that could run a big one, so I'll use him here along with the number 1 horse Code of Honor, who's a very weird horse. This trio called by Noble Mission. Shug McGahee trains. Johnny V picks up the mount. This horse, I like TV. Let me get a little rant here. I like TVG a lot. Growing up, we didn't have TVG here in New York City. We only got it about 5 years ago at the most. And so when we got it, it's fun to watch racing from across the country instead of going to each little feed. And years ago, it used to be so hard. But TVG has the they do this a lot. They hype a lot of horses, and like the Coliseum horse, and especially this horse. They hyped him a lot before the Mucho Macho Man, and when TVG does that, they usually lose. And of course, this horse loses. He finished 4th by 7 3/4 lengths there, and he didn't break all that well. He's very wide. He just didn't show up. I call it a little bit of a TVG curse, even though I love TVG. They have this horse to a curse. But he just couldn't keep up there. It was a very weird race. First start South Florida. Maybe he needed the race. He was coming off an illness that he missed because he missed the Brews Cup Juvenile and he missed the Remsen. Maybe he wasn't 100% fit. But since the Gulfstream race, he's been training over a pace, and he's been getting better with every workout, it seems. And I think he's sitting on a good race. Before that, he ran the Grade 1 Champagne at Belmont, 1 mile October the 6th. He finished 2nd by 3 lengths there. Complexity, who won that day, ran a hell of a race. This horse broke crap that day, was last going down the backstretch, but really closed up well at the end. It was a very good turn of foot there. And then before that, Saratoga 6 furlongs in main special weight, 85,000. He won by 1.5 lengths, and he went away with it. A very good run. I think the distance is right. He's a little versatile. He could sit from the front end, or he could come from behind. I think, like I said, I think he's going to run a lot better race than he did in the Mucho Macho Man. So I'll take him here at 6-1. Use him on my pick 4 ticket, along with the 7 horse Hidden Scroll. Belmont trains this trio called by Hard Spun. Joel Rosario comes from Southern California to ride this one. This horse's appearance, first start came on Pegasus Day here at Gulfstream. 1 mile on the slop in main special weight, 52,000, and he won by 14. It didn't get any easier than that, but the track was playing towards a lot of speed that afternoon. If you weren't on the front end, basically you weren't winning, but he still took off very nicely. It was a very good victory. It was one of the most impressive 3-year-old races, 3-year-old runs so far this season. 104 Beyer, it doesn't get any better than that. Since the race, he's been training over pace, and again, he's been training very well, just as good, I think, as, his very similar works to Code of Honor, who's been getting better with every single workout. He's another horse, 2 turns shouldn't be a problem, and I think he's another horse that could run well. But the thing that scares me a little bit with him is, the stakes coming very quickly. But he's still, like I said, if he even runs a quarter of the last race, he wins this very nicely. Shit price at 9 to 5. I don't trust, second start 9 to 5 stakes company. I don't like the price so much, but he's a horse you definitely want to use insurance on your pick 4. Like I said, he's a horse that you could definitely win here. So of course I'll use him on my pick 4. But to recap my selections now for the 13th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth. I'll take as a top selection the 4-horse Bourbon War. I'll go 4-6-1-7 in the superfecta, and I'll go 4-6-1-7 in my pick 4. So let's get to the nightcap from Gulfstream. The nightcap from Gulfstream Park. It's the Mack Stakes. It's a Grade 2 event going for a purse of $200,000. This race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 11 horses going the distance of ground of 2,200 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 3/8 on the Gulfstream Park lawn, the turf course. 2,200 meters, 1 mile 3/8. So they'll be running on the inner portion of the turf course where the rail's out 24 feet. Top selection here in a very wide open Mack. I'm going to take the 4-horse Hunter O'Reilly. I'm going to go 4-2-11-6 in the superfecta. 4-2-11-6 super. In the multi-race to end it off the pick 4, I'm going to go all 4 deep. Maybe I could catch some little price here, but my 4-horse is a little bit of a price. My top selection, the 4-horse Hunter O'Reilly, 6-year-old gun by Tiz Wonderful. Tyler Gaffleone gets on this one for James Toner. The horse's most recent outing came at Gulfstream Park, 26th of January, 1.5 miles in the Grade 3 William McKnight handicap, excuse me. The horse finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths there, had a horrible trip, but had a little bit of a turn of foot at the end. It was a good run, first start in over 6 months. That was his first start as gelding also. Before that, he ran in the Grade 2 Elkhorn at Keeneland, 1.5 miles, April 21st, and he finished 9th by 7 lengths there. He was way out of it and just didn't show up. It wasn't the day to win. And then before that, November of 2017 at Aqueduct, 1 mile 3/8 in her turf course in the Red Smith handicap, he finished 9th by 5 1/4 lengths. And again, he unfortunately just did not show up. His last one, he showed some heart. Then the 3 before that, he just ran shit races. But then he ran a massive race. His last win came the Grade 2 Bowling Green handicap at Saratoga, 1 mile 3/8 in the summer of 2017, where he won by a neck, closed up well. He ran a good race there. And then the victory before, he won a very good allowance race at Keeneland in April of 2017 by nose, really closing up well. He should like the 1 mile 3/8 trip. He should like Gulfstream Park. If he gets a good clear trip, I think he can go away with it. So at 10-1, I'll take him as a top selection, and hopefully, he'll do wonders for the pick 4. But to recap my selections for the 14th from Gulfstream, the final race on the program, it's Grade 2 Mack. Going to take the 4-horse Hunter O'Reilly. I'm going to go 4-2-11-6 in the superfecta, and like I said, I'll go 4 deep here to end off the pick 4. I'll go 4-2-11-6 in the pick 4. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck.